Welcome back to another episode of the Biz Magic Podcast, your place for all things tech in your online business with some solid hits of general biz chat too. My name is Patty Meyer and I am the CEO and founder of Biz Magic, where my team and I support entrepreneurs who are overwhelmed by the back-end tech of their business. We create, implement, and teach the tweaks that help our clients make a bigger impact with less stress. Today, we are talking about something that can, in a lot of ways, kind of make or break your business's growth. And that is hiring and building a team that actually works. And that's even if this team is just one other person supporting you, right? And it's something that can sound simple sometimes. You just hire somebody to help you, right? But if you've never done it before, it can start to feel really complicated really quickly. And I've been hiring people for over 20 years at this point. And I also spent over 10 years working as the business assistant for a contract recruiter. So I've seen hiring from a lot of different angles. As the business owner who needs help, as the person vetting candidates and connecting them to opportunities, and of course, as somebody looking for work, because that's there. And so because I've had all this experience, I'll be really honest that getting this right can take time and experience, and it takes effort. But it doesn't have to be as overwhelming as it feels or it sounds. And you don't have to get it perfect the first time. So today I'm going to kind of cover hiring, but two areas specifically. One, how to interview and hire well, especially contractors and remote team members. And two, how to create a working relationship and environment that supports both of you long term. So let's start with the hiring process. One of the most important things I can say about hiring is this: the interview should not be your first step. You want to vet as much as you can before you get on a call with them. And I do recommend Zoom whenever possible, just because you get to see the person and get a feel for their energy a little bit different. But this means reviewing their portfolio or their resume or an application, asking thoughtful pre-interview questions, maybe a quick skill test if that's needed. You're looking for signals that they might be a good match, not just in skills, but in culture, right? And how they communicate and in their approach to work. Those extra steps, they save time for both of you. You don't want to spend 30 minutes interviewing someone who clearly within 5 minutes is not a fit. That's not wasting just your time, it's wasting their time as well, right? So when you do get to the interview, you keep it human. So to do that, I recommend creating a little application if you can do that, that asks some of these questions, things that are non-negotiables for you, things that are really important, and not just yes or no. Try to ask those open-ended questions in an application as well, because as much space as you can give them to share, the better, because it allows you to see their thought process a little bit, see how they communicate, see how they write, look for any typos, that sort of thing. When you do get to the actual interview, keep it human. I always like to start by asking them to tell me about themselves, not just why do you want this role, right? Like, we don't want to just have them try to convince us why we should hire them and stroke our ego as to why, oh, you're such a great company and I want to work with you, right? You want to understand more about them. So maybe ask, why are you doing the work you're doing? What is it that lights you up about the work you do? What brought you to do this type of work? That question tends to open things up in a different way. You get the insight into what drives them, how they see their work, what kind of energy they bring to the table. From there, let them talk. Give them space to share their experience, what they enjoy, what they're good at. You can learn a lot by just listening and watching how someone communicates when they're not being guided every step of the way. You also want to be really clear about the role you're hiring for. Be honest about what it looks like, what the expectations are, what the pace is. Then ask for their thoughts. See what questions they ask, what ideas they bring, if they've done something similar before. If they just say, yeah, I can do that, no problem, with nothing else, that's usually a red flag to me. You want somebody who's engaged and curious and not just checking the boxes, because there's no proof that they can do it if they just say, yeah, I can do that for you. Like, I've learned that the hard way, trust me. So now let's say you've made it through this interview process, you feel really good, you've hired somebody. After hiring them, how do we set both of us up for success, right? Hiring is just the beginning. If you want it to work for both of you, there are a few core things to pay attention to. So the first is communication. You want to talk early about how you'll communicate. Is it email? Is it Slack? Is it Voxer? Do you want to do weekly calls, bi-weekly calls, monthly calls? And be open to finding a rhythm that works for both of you. A lot of business owners assume I'm paying, so it should go my way, the way that works best for me. But the best working relationships are collaborative. Your contractor or employee is a human too. And when you meet each other in the middle, everything runs smoother. The second is task and project tracking. This is a non-negotiable. You have to have a place to track tasks and projects. Otherwise, you're left in this kind of position where you don't really know what's going on. You kind of feel like, well, should I ask what's happening? Should I ask if they've gotten this done? Like it gets a little muddy really quickly, and it's another layer of communication. Trello, ClickUp, Notion, Asana, whatever you're using, it needs to exist and be kept up to date. Otherwise, you'll spend more time chasing things down than actually moving forward. It offers accountability for both of you, and it's just a great way to stay in communication and stay on track. You also next want to look at expectations and feedback. Be clear about what you expect, including deadlines, including quality, communication. Also, be realistic. Don't expect that somebody's going to read your mind or absorb your entire business after a week. And please give feedback. If something isn't working, say so. Don't just sit on it. It is so important for you to voice what is going on. People cannot improve if they don't know there's a problem. Even if the problem is just, oh, I don't like the tone of voice you're using, or you're using my colors, but that's not quite the style that I want. If you don't do something about it, it's going to grow, right? And you're not giving them a chance to step up. And you're not giving yourself a chance to grow in communication and feedback. On the flip side, if something is working, say that too. Positive feedback helps people stay grounded and confident in their work. I also recommend that you ask your new hire how they prefer to receive feedback. Some people like a feedback sandwich, and some people want really direct, clear, like no fluff. Just tell me what's going on. Tell me what your thoughts are, how I can do this better or differently. And if you're not sure, ask, right? Like, don't worry about over communication. I don't believe that you can over communicate, especially in the beginning. Okay. And the next thing is you want to make sure that you create space for questions. And this is a really big one. Create an environment where questions are welcome, especially at the beginning. Whoever you hire is going to have more questions up front as they're learning your systems and getting to know how you work. If you don't love answering questions constantly, that's totally fair. And there are some workarounds for that. So you can create a shared document that they can drop questions in, and you can respond to them in batches when it makes the most sense for you. You can schedule weekly or bi-weekly check-ins that allows you that space to answer questions. You can proactively record Loom videos or write SOPs or instructions as needed, especially for repeatable tasks. The more proactive you are in this case, the fewer fires you'll need to put out later. But no matter what, make sure that you're okay to answer questions, because that really builds trust, and that's really, really important. And finally, this might feel small, but it's not. Say thank you. Let them know you appreciate what they're doing. A little recognition can go a long way. It can be as simple as a thoughtful message, a gift card, a birthday card, a handwritten note, an actual gift, just something. Say thank you when they've done something well. Say, this was so awesome. You rock. I really appreciate you. Like, be genuine. Don't just say it. Be genuine. Say thank you whenever possible and let them know, because it builds trust. It shows you value their contribution, and it makes people more likely to want to keep working with you, which is what you want. I want to take a quick second here to kind of have like a legal sidebar, if you will, about an employee versus a contractor. This is something that a lot of small businesses and solopreneurs kind of miss. There is a real difference between hiring a contractor and hiring an employee. And the IRS takes this very seriously, and so should you, not just because the IRS takes it seriously, but because there is a difference, and it's really important. Contractors control how and when they work. You are hiring them for a result. You are not managing their hours or giving them a specific process. You are actually not allowed to tell them where, when, or how they can do their job. They pay their own taxes. They are a business that you are paying to provide you with a service. Think of it as if you go into a grocery store, you cannot go in and say, hey, I wanted to come in at 2 a.m. and you were closed. You have to open this store at 2 a.m. for me. And even though you're a grocery store, I really would like for you to carry 2x4s, right? Like you wouldn't do that at a store. Think of this as the same way. When you hire a contractor, they are not there to do whatever it is that you want them to do. They are there to do what you've agreed to do together, what they say that they can offer service-wise. And they are there to provide the service that they know how to do, when they can do it, when they choose to do it, and how they choose to do it. And don't get me wrong, it's agreed upon, right? Like you're discussing this in the beginning and agreeing upon it, but you do have to follow those guidelines. Employees are a different story. You have a lot more oversight over employees, but it's also more responsibility, including taxes, benefits, and compliance. So there's pros and cons to having both, and most people that are listening to this are going to be hiring contractors. So you really need to, and I highly recommend you look into what it means to hire a contractor and make sure that you're treating them accordingly. So again, I know hiring can feel intimidating, but it doesn't have to. The key is to really slow down, pay attention, and remember you're building a relationship, not just checking off your task to-do list, right? When you hire intentionally and set things up well, your team can become one of your biggest strengths really in your business. And that takes a lot off your plate so that you can focus on the work you actually want to be doing, the work you're actually passionate about, the work that allows you to bring in more income. And if you're kind of unsure about hiring, if you need some help, you need some tips, I have a blog post, I have a free hiring training, I have a guide that you can use, like a little workbook for hiring. I have all of that stuff on my website, but I will also link it in the show notes here. I also am happy to strategize with you on hiring. Again, I've been hiring in some form or another for well over 20 years at this point. It is something that is, for me, I can do in my sleep. And so I'm super happy to offer any advice, to share, to help you hire and help you with the hiring process. Any and all of those things I'm here for. So feel free to reach out to me. You can find me, as always, at patty@bizmagic.co or directly on my website at bizmagic.co. Till next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of the BizMagic podcast. Like most small businesses and podcasts, we rely heavily on word of mouth. So if you like what you heard today or in any episode, please share with your friends and colleagues and rate, subscribe, and comment on your favorite podcast platform. Till next time, cheers to your magical biz success.